Salesforce Security, Implicit Sharing Explained. Welcome to another session of diving into Salesforce record level security. Today we're going to be talking about the hidden rules, implicit sharing. Now there's a phenomenal video by Johan Thurman, and I highly recommend if you really want to get into the details, diving in there. But I'm going to give you a nice summary of the implicit shares and a demo of a couple of them. So we're going to be diving into implicit sharing. We're talking about record level visibility and seeing the particular records in a file cabinet, the object access granted to profiles and permission sets. And when you mark the object as private, being able to control the visibility of particular records. Some of these are out of the box and some of these are by code. The ones we're talking about today are out of the box. We're talking about the ones that are driven implicitly, that are not overt. And there are implications on the different license types. And some of these don't use the share table, some of them do. So we're talking about sharing set 4, way number 12, and we're talking about implicit. And there's a few different documented implicit ways in which Salesforce grants access to records. So there are implicit sharing mechanisms that are granted automatically. Parent implicit, child implicit, site portal implicit, case contact implicit, high volume implicit, and high volume parent. The last two are a little more obscure, a little harder to describe. The first 4 are pretty straightforward. So let's dive in. Parent implicit sharing is when, this is not when you have controlled by parent. This is related to the account with the contact, the case, and the opportunity. When you set that to private, then what's going to happen is Salesforce will grant automatic read-only access to the parent. So what we're going to be doing, that means that if you have a private relationship between the account and the contact, case, and opportunity, and you grant explicit ownership access to one of the children, then it will be seen by the parent. So let's actually take a look at this. So we're going to take a look in this sandbox where we're at the sharing settings. I'll make this a little bigger. And you'll notice that I have set account contact, order, assembly, pretty much the gambit of these to private. So I have changed them from controlled by parent to private. Now, what I'm going to do is we have the standard accounts and opportunities that were loaded as part of a default sandbox. So these are our nice little test records that this user has, the sysadmin of this dev sandbox has access to. And what I have is a second user here called Paul Private. So we're going to go right here. We're going to go setup, users, and we're going to go to users. And we're going to see Paul Private is just a standard user. So what we're going to do is, as Paul Private, right here, I have access to no accounts. I have access to no opportunities. So Paul Private, it's a private model. There are no shares of any form, and let's even double check that. So if we go to sharing settings, and we're going to go to account, you'll see across the board, it's a brand new sandbox I just created prior to this video, and you'll notice that it's all blank. So no access, and Paul Private has access to nothing. What we're going to do is we're going to be testing the first implicit sharing rule, which, as we saw, read-only access to the parent for which a user has access to a child. So the target's the account. We're going to grant access to a child, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to go to an opportunity. We're going to take Burlington text, and we're going to actually change the owner of Burlington to Paul Private. Now, the main user, Steve, can still see it because he's the sysadmin. But what we've done is we have changed the opportunity visibility. And all I have to do is go to recent and come back again. And now you've seen that Paul has gained read-only access. This is just a change of owner. Nothing about implicit is kicked in yet until I go to accounts. And now I go to all accounts, and then we're seeing the account record is here. So Paul Private does not own Burlington. Paul Private has no sharing rule for Burlington. The only reason Paul Private can see Burlington is through implicit sharing. So if we look, read-only access was granted to the parent account when the user had access to the child. And when they lose access, then it removes it. So let's actually pull it away. So we're going to come back here to Burlington. We're going to change owner back to Steve. Hit submit. So this was a change of owner on the opportunity. Now we're looking at the account and we're going to refresh. And they no longer can see it because we were we were landed on that page. So that's gone. So that is a very clear parent level implicit sharing. Now we're going to go to child. Now again, we're talking about when it's parent. It's not used when it's not controlled by parent, and it supports the grant rules. So we're now looking for child level implicit sharing. So right now we're going to confirm this user has no access to any accounts. This user has no access to any opportunities. We're going to go to a different account. We're going to go to Edge. Edge is an account, and we're going to change owner to Paul. So we're giving Paul access to the parent. And so now Paul has access to the parent. So we're going to go to the account and we can see Edge there. Now this is a private model, which meant that Paul should only see the account. But if we go to opportunities and view all, then we now see the Edge emergency generator. And if I go to contacts, you'll see that Paul now can see Rose, Sean, both Edge employees. So both Edge contacts. So this is demonstrating the child level access implicit sharing. Now this is going to affect, the contact, the case, the opportunity. You want to look at the role level. There are some implied settings you can control, which is at the VP role that you can set up. Users at this role can edit all accounts, all contacts associated. You have the choice of no extra view, or edit. So this is at the contact opportunity case level, and you can define that individually at different role levels. So this is a very powerful controlled access that you have the ability for with the child level access going account to contacts, opportunities, and cases. Now we're going to go over a couple more sharings, a little more obscure, a little harder to demo. So I'm just going to talk about them. We have access to the site or portal account, can see the associated contacts for all the users under that account. So what you need to watch for is a community user under an account contact being able to see all of the associated contacts. This is an important one. Case contact is a very important one. This is if you have a case created through a community, then the creator is going to be the owner, for temporarily, they're the owner of the case, which would give them visibility. But the moment the case has gone through case assignment rules, they would lose access. Problem is, if Steve were to create a case through a community experience, I'd want to see the status of that case, but I would lose visibility. And so if the portal or site user is the contact on a case, there is a designated field on the case called the case contact, then the user maintains read access on that case. Okay, so this is an important one. There's a more obscure one, high volume implicit sharing. Access to data owned by high volume. Those are the lighter user licenses on the community that don't have access to the sharing table. What they're saying is the sharing set, share records, and this will share multiple objects. All members of the sharing set gain access to every record. A little harder to demo, possibly in a future future meeting. And then the last one, high volume parent implicit sharing. Read-only access to the parent account for records shared through a sharing set. Maintains access to see the parent set. little more obscure. We'll see about demoing these in a video. So those are our sharing rules that are implicit and non-implied. So as you design specific sharing rule patterns in Salesforce, have your implicits in mind. Know about the parent to child, the child to parent, and know about the case contact. That's a really important one. So these are good tools to have in your tool belt. Understand that that Salesforce will be granting this access so you can understand and anticipate it. Hope that's helpful. And remember, there was a good video by Johan Furman that dives into this details even more than myself. Hope you enjoyed. And hope you enjoyed understanding the implicit rules. Join us again, same bat time, same bat channel. Subscribe to SteveTechArc.com and join me, and make sure you subscribe, www.SteveTechArc.com, and my YouTube channel. Thank you.